Don't force anything in life. There's an old saying, a river doesn't force itself through the rocks, it finds the smoothest path. Yet, how often do we fight against life's natural currents? We push, resist, and struggle, only to find frustration waiting for us at the end. The Stoics had a simple but profound principle. Do not force what is not meant to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." But there's a hidden wisdom here. It doesn't mean we should smash through obstacles like a battering ram. Instead, we must learn when to persist and when to yield, when to act and when to accept. Imagine a man lost in a dense forest. He panics, pushes forward without direction, only to become even more entangled in the thicket. But if he stops, observes, and follows the natural openings in the landscape, he eventually finds a path. Life is much the same. The more you force an outcome, the more resistance you create. The more you embrace what is, the more effortlessly things fall into place. This is the art of effort without struggle, movement without desperation. It is the difference between swimming with the current and exhausting yourself fighting against it. It is the wisdom of knowing that some doors are meant to open easily, while others are locked for a reason. The key to peace is in understanding that not everything is meant to be forced. Let us explore how the Stoics mastered this balance, and how you too can apply it to your own life, cultivating resilience, patience, and the power of allowing things to unfold in their own time. Lesson 1. The power of letting go. Imagine you are grasping a rope tightly, trying to pull it your way. The harder you pull, the more resistance you feel. But if you let go, what happens? The tension disappears. Life is much the same. We hold on to things, relationships, expectations, desires, thinking that if we just try harder, we will make them work. But Epictetus warned us, some things are up to us, and some things are not. The key is knowing the difference. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about releasing attachment to outcomes we cannot control. A farmer does not demand the rain. He plants, waters, and trusts nature to do the rest. So too must we learn to surrender where we have no power. This does not mean we stop caring or putting in effort, but rather we shift our focus to what is truly within our grasp. A musician does not force a song into existence. They allow the melody to emerge naturally through practice and patience. A sculptor does not wrestle with the stone, but follows the shape it suggests, carving along the lines that nature has already placed. Think of a river that meanders through the landscape. It does not fight the land, nor does it try to rush past obstacles. Instead, it finds the natural course, flowing effortlessly where gravity leads. Similarly, we must recognize that not everything is meant to be forced. When we push too hard in a direction that is not meant for us, we create unnecessary struggle, draining our energy on things beyond our control. Resistance creates friction, and friction leads to suffering. If we force things, we become blind to the opportunities that arise naturally. A business deal that falls through may make space for a better opportunity. A relationship that ends may free you to find deeper, more authentic love. A failure today may be the foundation of tomorrow's success. The Stoics teach us that every closed door is an opening to something else. We must learn to discern when to act and when to allow things to unfold. There is a time to plant seeds and a time to wait for them to grow. There is a time to speak and a time to listen. Trying to control every aspect of life is like attempting to grasp water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. But when you hold your palms open, the water simply rests there, unforced and unresisted. To practice this, consider where in your life you are gripping too tightly. What are you afraid will slip away if you loosen your hold? The truth is, what is meant for you cannot be forced away, and what is not meant for you cannot be held onto forever. Trust in the ebb and flow of life, and you will find that letting go is not an act of loss, but of liberation. Letting go creates space for something even greater to take root. When you feel tension in your life, ask yourself, am I trying to force something? Take a deep breath. Loosen your grip. Watch as life starts to unfold with less resistance. Lesson 2. Flowing with life. Lao Tzu, a thinker often compared to the Stoics, said, "By letting it go, it all gets done. The ocean does not fight the wind, it moves with it. The trees do not resist the storm, they bend, and when they do, they survive." The strongest materials are not those that resist every force, but those that adapt and endure. Nature teaches us this fundamental truth. Rigidity leads to breakage, while flexibility leads to survival. The mighty oak that refuses to bend will snap under pressure, while the willow swaying with the wind remains intact. The more we resist reality, the more we suffer. But when we move with the forces of life rather than against them, we find harmony. Seneca once wrote, "Fate leads the willing, but drags the unwilling." If we fight reality, we only cause ourselves suffering. To force something is to fight the natural order of things. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate, not just accepting life, but embracing it. When things do not go as planned, it is not a failure, it is redirection. The river, when encountering a boulder, does not crash into it endlessly. It flows around it, reshaping the landscape over time. The very obstacle becomes a guiding force, shaping its new course. Imagine a sailor at sea. If he fights the wind, stubbornly holding a course against the natural flow, he wastes his energy and risks destruction. But if he adjusts his sails, adapting to the shifting currents, he moves forward with efficiency and grace. The same wind that could destroy him can also carry him to his destination if he learns to work with it rather than against it. Glad to know you found the video useful. Please share the lessons you have learned and apply them to life. Don't forget to share this video with friends and relatives. Wishing you a day filled with joy. Life is no different. We must sometimes stop resisting and start navigating, allowing circumstances to guide us rather than fighting them. There is great power in allowing life to unfold naturally. This does not mean passivity. Rather, it means recognizing the difference between effort and struggle. The most effective leaders, the most successful creators, and the most content individuals are those who recognize when to push and when to step back, when to persist and when to pivot. A river does not force its way through the land. It finds the natural openings, carving a path over time. By learning to trust the flow of life, we free ourselves from unnecessary tension and open ourselves to possibilities we never imagined. The act of surrender is not about giving up, but about finding alignment with the world as it is. When we trust the flow of life, We cultivate patience, wisdom, and resilience, qualities that allow us to thrive, no matter where the current takes us. Consider the gardener who nurtures his plants with care. He does not tug on the leaves to make them grow faster, nor does he rage against the changing weather or seasons. Instead, he waters, tends, and trusts in nature's rhythm. His success is not in forcing, but in understanding the natural cycles at play. Likewise, in life, when we force outcomes, we often hinder our own progress. But when we align with the natural flow, we move forward with ease and purpose. We see this wisdom reflected in life in many ways, through goals, aspirations, businesses, ideas, and even the process of learning new skills. The most successful entrepreneurs and innovators are not those who rigidly adhere to one plan, but those who pivot when necessary, adjusting to the ever-changing landscape of opportunity. The more flexible our mindset, the more readily we can seize the right moments and avoid unnecessary struggles. The same principle applies to relationships, both romantic and platonic. Friendships that grow naturally without force tend to be the strongest. When we try to control or manipulate a relationship to fit a specific mold, it often backfires, leading to unnecessary tension. But when we let connections evolve organically, we allow space for mutual understanding and trust to develop. Romantic relationships thrive when both individuals are willing to grow together, rather than one person forcing an expectation onto the other. Likewise, the path to mastering a new skill is not about forcing perfection too soon, but about embracing the process. A musician does not become great overnight. They allow their craft to evolve over time. A language learner does not memorize every word instantly, but immerses themselves in the rhythm of practice. A computer coder or developer cannot learn to build and craft a perfect website or application full of custom themes overnight. By staying adaptable and patient, we allow our growth to unfold naturally, without resistance. The more rigid we are in our approach to life, the more easily we break. But when we stay flexible and open, we can navigate obstacles with grace, using the flow of life to our advantage, rather than fighting against it. Understanding this principle allows us to face setbacks with a new perspective. When a door closes, it is not a dead end, but a redirection. What seems like failure is often a step towards something greater. A rejected job application, a lost opportunity, or an unexpected detour can all be guiding forces leading us toward where we are truly meant to be. To practice this, take note of where you experience the most resistance in your life. Are you trying to force a solution where there is none? Are you clinging to an outcome that may not be the best for you? The more we release, the more we allow new possibilities to emerge. By embracing the flow, we move toward a life of greater peace, wisdom, and fulfillment. When something doesn't go your way, instead of forcing it, ask yourself, what is life trying to teach me? Shift your perspective from resistance to flow, from fighting to learning. Lesson 3. Nature's wisdom. The art of timing. Consider the changing seasons. Winter does not rush into spring. The fruit does not ripen before its time. Everything in nature follows its course. So why do we believe we must rush our own growth? Marcus Aurelius advised, never be in a hurry. Do everything quietly and in a calm spirit. The world today glorifies hustle, as if forcing things faster means success. But true mastery comes not from rushing, but from understanding the right moment to act. Growth is not a race, it is a journey with its own pace. A tree does not demand the sun to shine brighter or the rain to fall more quickly. It simply absorbs what is given, growing in alignment with the conditions around it. When we rush, we often sabotage our own potential, burning out before we reach the finish line. But when we trust the timing of our lives, we allow ourselves to develop fully with resilience and grace. The same principle applies to personal ambitions, career advancements, and relationships. A business forced into success too soon may collapse under the weight of its own premature expansion. An idea, when rushed, may never reach its full brilliance. Friendships and romantic relationships, when pushed too hard, may fail to develop the trust and foundation they need. To everything meaningful in life requires time to mature. Patience is not idleness. It is wisdom. It allows us to move forward without unnecessary resistance, to let things come to us at the right moment, rather than chasing them recklessly. When we learn to pace ourselves, we recognize that every stage of life has its purpose. The waiting periods are not wasted, they are where transformation happens beneath the surface. A young artist cannot master their craft overnight. A musician does not compose a symphony in a single sitting, nor does a writer produce a masterpiece in one draft. Skill, like nature, unfolds through practice, refinement, and persistence. Every misstep, every moment of learning contributes to the final piece of work. The journey, not just the outcome, defines true mastery. Likewise, building a meaningful life requires careful, steady effort. A relationship nurtured over time creates deeper trust and understanding than one rushed in search of instant gratification. A startup that grows gradually, adapting to challenges, stands a better chance of longevity than one that expands too quickly without a solid foundation. Even our personal aspirations, learning a new skill, adopting a healthier lifestyle, or developing emotional intelligence, require time, setbacks, and perseverance. Patience also teaches us to embrace the moments in between. We often focus so intently on achieving our next goal that we forget to appreciate where we are now. But if we pause, we see that every stage of growth is valuable. Just as the fruit is not wasted when it is still ripening on the vine, neither are we wasting time when we are in the process of becoming. Growth is happening, even when we cannot yet see its full effect. This perspective shift is essential in a world obsessed with speed and achievement. We celebrate milestones, but often overlook the quiet, transformative moments in between. The artist does not only find fulfillment in the finished painting, but in the act of creation itself. A musician treasures the practice sessions just as much as the performance. Every step, no matter how small, is part of the greater process of becoming. Glad to know you found the lecture useful. Please share what you have learned and apply it to life. Don't forget to share this video with those you want to help. Wishing you a wonderful day. Furthermore, our personal growth often takes place in ways we do not immediately recognize. Just as a seed germinates beneath the soil before sprouting into the sunlight, much of our development happens internally before manifesting externally. The frustrations, the delays, and even the setbacks all contribute to the depth of our learning and the richness of our journey. When we learn to appreciate these moments, we free ourselves from the anxiety of constantly striving for the next big thing. We begin to see the beauty in the process itself. Patience teaches us that growth is not something we force, it is something we nurture. Just as nature does not rush, yet everything unfolds in perfect timing, so too should we trust the unfolding of our own path. The moments in between are not empty spaces. They are the very essence of life itself. The next time you feel impatient, remind yourself, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Trust the timing of your life. Focus on steady, deliberate progress, rather than immediate results. The more you allow things to unfold naturally, the stronger and more lasting they will become. Lesson 4. The balance of action and acceptance. Some misunderstand Stoicism, thinking it teaches passivity. But the Stoics were men of action. They fought battles, led empires, and endured hardships. The key is they acted without desperation. Epictetus said, "Do your duty, but do not be attached to the outcome." Imagine shooting an arrow. You aim, you pull, you release. But once the arrow leaves the bow, the wind, the distance, and the target's movement are beyond your control. Your duty is to take the shot. The rest is fate. In life, growth is not a straight path, but a winding journey. We often want instant results, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal development. However, just like a tree takes years to bear fruit, true success requires patience. The best ideas, the strongest relationships, and the most meaningful achievements come from steady, consistent effort. Rushing the process often leads to fragile outcomes, while allowing things to unfold naturally ensures long-lasting success. Trusting in the journey rather than forcing the destination is one of the greatest lessons we can learn. When we fixate on control, we create unnecessary tension in our lives. The more we try to force a particular outcome, the more resistance we encounter. This applies to everything: our ambitions, our goals, even our personal growth. Sometimes, the best approach is to step back and allow events to unfold in their own time. When we ease up, we create space for new opportunities, fresh perspectives, and unexpected breakthroughs. Letting go of control is not giving up. It is simply making room for the natural flow of life. Success in any endeavor comes from finding the balance between effort and surrender. A sculptor does not aggressively chisel away at a block of stone. They work patiently, following the natural lines of the material. Likewise, a musician, artist, or content creator cannot force inspiration, but must practice diligently while allowing creativity to emerge organically. Every masterpiece is created through a balance of patience and skill, not through brute force. The same is true in life. Pushing too hard can stifle growth, while persistence with patience fosters excellence. Knowing when to push forward and when to wait is the key to sustainable success. We see this principle in nature as well. Rivers do not carve their paths by force, but by steady persistence over time. Flowers do not bloom before their season, and the sun does not rise until it is time. Everything in the universe operates in harmony with its own rhythm, and we are no different. When we force situations, we disrupt this balance, creating unnecessary struggle. But when we align ourselves with the natural flow of events, we experience greater ease and success. Trusting the timing of life allows us to move forward with grace. Patience does not mean inaction. It means acting with wisdom, knowing when to take a step and when to wait. Many people mistake patience for passivity, but in reality, it is a form of strength. It takes courage to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. It requires faith to believe that the right opportunities will come at the right time. When we embrace patience, we find that things often fall into place more effortlessly than we imagined. Our greatest lessons often come from moments of surrender. The most profound realizations occur when we release our tight grip on life and allow ourselves to be guided by intuition and trust. Many of history's greatest thinkers, leaders, and artists understood this truth. They did not force their success, but instead allowed it to develop through persistence and alignment with their purpose. The more we cultivate a mindset of flow rather than force, the more rewarding our journey becomes. True wisdom comes from knowing when to act and when to let go. The concept of letting go does not mean abandoning ambition. It simply means working in harmony with life rather than against it. When we force things, we create resistance. But when we move with intention and trust, we open doors to possibilities we never anticipated. Some of the best things in life happen unexpectedly. And when we allow life to unfold naturally, we experience joy, fulfillment, and peace. Letting go does not mean losing. It means gaining the freedom to live without constant struggle. Finally, embracing the flow of life brings a sense of peace that cannot be found in relentless striving. When we learn to trust the process, we reduce stress, increase clarity, and find greater fulfillment. Life does not have to be a constant battle. When we let go of unnecessary tension and allow ourselves to adapt, we create a life of greater ease and joy. The key to happiness is not in forcing things to happen, but in learning to dance with the rhythm of the universe. Do your best, then detach. Make the effort, but release the need to force results. Trust that what is meant for you will come in due time. Lesson 5. Relationships. You cannot force people to stay. The hardest lesson to learn is that people, like seasons, change. A Stoic does not beg for someone to stay, nor do they force love where it is not returned. Seneca wrote, "The wise man is content with himself." Clinging to relationships that have run their course only breeds pain. Instead of resisting the natural ebb and flow of human connections, one must accept that some people are meant to be temporary teachers, rather than permanent fixtures in our lives. The best relationships are those that flow naturally, where mutual respect, not control, holds people together. To force someone to stay is to hold sand too tightly. It only slips through your fingers faster. Just as nature allows rivers to change course and trees to shed their leaves, relationships too must be given space to evolve. The more one fights change, the more suffering they invite upon themselves. Rather than gripping tightly to what was, the wise person embraces what is and what may be. We often become attached to people, expecting them to fulfill certain roles in our lives indefinitely. However, true growth requires us to accept that change is inevitable. Some relationships flourish for a season, while others endure for a lifetime. Attempting to force permanence on something temporary only leads to frustration. The Stoics remind us that clinging to impermanence is a recipe for disappointment, whereas embracing transition allows us to move forward with clarity and peace. Love and friendships are at their strongest when they are freely chosen. When we release the need to control others, we cultivate authentic connections. The healthiest relationships are those built on trust, mutual admiration, and the willingness to let each other evolve. If someone is meant to be in your life, they will stay. Not because they are forced, but because they want to. To be at peace with this truth is to understand one of life's greatest lessons. Much like a garden, relationships require space to grow. Overwatering a plant can suffocate it, just as smothering a friendship or romance can drive it away. Giving others the freedom to choose allows relationships to develop in their own time. People must walk their own paths, and sometimes those paths diverge from ours. Acceptance of this fact does not mean a lack of care, but rather an understanding that each person has their own journey to follow. When we view relationships with a sense of gratitude rather than attachment, we open ourselves to a deeper appreciation of human connections. Every person we encounter brings something unique into our lives, whether it be lessons, joy, companionship, or growth. Recognizing this allows us to cherish each relationship for what it is, rather than what we wish it to be. It liberates us from the fear of losing people and instead instills a sense of gratitude for the time shared. Letting go does not mean forgetting or discarding memories. It means appreciating what was, while welcoming what is to come. There is a certain grace in allowing life to unfold without resistance. When we no longer force people to fit into preconceived roles, we free both them and ourselves. This mindset fosters healthier interactions, built not on fear of loss, but on appreciation of presence. The wisest individuals recognize that no relationship is ever truly lost. Every encounter, every friendship, and every romance leaves behind something valuable. Even if someone drifts away, the lessons, experiences, and growth gained from that connection remain. The essence of our bonds exists in the imprint they leave on our souls, not in their duration. By letting go of the need to control relationships, we open ourselves to unexpected joys. New friendships emerge, deeper bonds form, and old connections may return in unforeseen ways. When we practice detachment in a healthy way, we foster emotional resilience. Instead of fearing endings, we learn to trust that every transition serves a greater purpose. Just as nature does not mourn the passing of one season, but welcomes the next, we too must learn to flow with the tides of life. Holding on to relationships out of fear creates suffering, whereas embracing change with an open heart cultivates wisdom. The more we release our grip, the more we make room for new and fulfilling experiences. Ultimately, relationships should be a source of joy, not anxiety. The act of loving someone, whether platonically or romantically, is not about possessing them, but about appreciating them for who they are in the moment. Letting people go when the time is right is not an act of loss, but an act of profound acceptance and love. It is in this acceptance that we find our greatest peace. Glad to know you found the video useful. Please share what you have learned and apply it to your daily life. Don't forget to share this video with those you want to help. Wishing you a wonderful day. By cultivating this perspective, we free ourselves from the pain of clinging and step into a mindset of abundant gratitude for the connections that shape our lives. Allow people to come and go as they must. Value those who choose to stay, but do not force bonds that are not meant to last. Lesson 6. Ambition without anxiety. The world tells us to chase, to grind, to never stop. But the Stoics taught us to pursue greatness without desperation. Marcus Aurelius did not seek the throne. It came to him because he prepared for it, not because he forced it. He understood that true power comes not from clinging to ambition, but from aligning with one's purpose and taking deliberate, well-measured action. This kind of purposeful action eliminates unnecessary stress and provides a clearer path to fulfillment. Ambition is noble, but it must not be tainted by obsession. He who chases two hares catches neither, goes the saying. A calm mind achieves more than a frantic one. When we approach our goals with composure and patience, we allow wisdom to guide our steps rather than fear. Fear-driven ambition burns quickly, exhausting itself in its own frenzy, while a steady, focused approach builds something enduring and meaningful. The most successful individuals cultivate persistence over urgency, trusting that long-term progress is far more valuable than short-term gain. This principle applies in business, in art, in leadership, and in personal aspirations alike. The greatest achievements in history were not accomplished in a single burst of desperate energy, but through sustained, thoughtful effort. The artists who created masterpieces, the philosophers who shaped thought, the inventors who changed the world, none of them rushed blindly towards success. They trusted the process, embraced failure as a teacher, and refined their work over time. True ambition is not about speed, it is about direction. By embracing a methodical approach, they cultivated mastery and innovation, ensuring their contributions would last for generations to come. The slow and steady path is often the one that produces the most meaningful and lasting results. When we force ambition, we lose sight of the joy in the work itself. We become obsessed with results, measuring our worth by external achievements rather than by the depth of our engagement. The Stoics remind us that fulfillment does not come from external validation, but from knowing we have done our best with what is within our control. The journey itself holds the greatest value, not just the destination. Those who focus only on accolades often find themselves dissatisfied, realizing too late that the true reward was in the process of becoming. This process of becoming is where character is shaped and where the most profound lessons in life are learned. There is a fine line between ambition and anxiety. To cultivate ambition without anxiety, one must balance determination with detachment. Work hard, but do not be consumed by results. Pursue excellence, but do not let it define your self-worth. Ambition, when pursued with a steady heart and a calm mind, becomes a force that propels rather than burdens. When we release the need to force success, we open ourselves to greater opportunities, allowing our efforts to unfold naturally and bear fruit in their own time. The less we struggle against what is outside of our control, the more we can focus on what is within our power. To practice this, visualize a farmer planting a seed. He does not demand immediate growth, nor does he dig up the soil each day to check progress. Instead, he nurtures the land, providing water and care, while trusting the natural rhythm of growth. The same applies to ambition. When we nurture our efforts with patience, we allow the process to flourish in its own time. The more we align with this principle, the more we find success arriving as a natural consequence of our dedication rather than as something we must desperately chase. Just as a tree does not rush its growth, neither should we force our aspirations beyond what is naturally sustainable. The Stoics encourage us to find peace in the effort itself, not just in the outcome. Every moment spent in focused work is valuable, whether or not it immediately yields visible results. Ambition should serve as a guiding light, not an unbearable weight. When we channel our energy towards steady, meaningful progress rather than frantic exertion, we not only achieve more, but also enjoy the path we take to get there. By embracing this mindset, we cultivate both success and contentment, proving that real achievement lies in the balance of action and patience. Life is not about racing to an end goal. It is about learning, growing, and evolving in the process. Work hard, but do not be consumed by results. Focus on being excellent, and the rewards will follow naturally. Lesson 7. The art of adaptability. Life is full of unexpected changes, and our ability to adapt determines how well we navigate its challenges. The Stoics understood that rigidity leads to suffering, while flexibility allows us to thrive. A person who insists on one fixed path will be broken by life's inevitable disruptions. But someone who remains open to change finds new ways forward. Adaptability is not about abandoning principles. It is about knowing when to bend and when to stand firm. A warrior does not fight every battle head-on. They know when to retreat, when to pivot, and when to strike. A rigid mindset leads to unnecessary struggle, while adaptability allows us to make better decisions. In business, relationships, and personal growth, those who are open to new possibilities achieve greater success. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means choosing our responses rather than being enslaved by circumstances. Even the best laid plans can unravel in an instant. The ability to reassess and realign is what separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck. An entrepreneur whose first venture fails does not abandon their dream. They adjust their strategy and try again. A student who struggles with a subject does not give up on learning, but finds new methods to understand. Adaptability allows us to extract wisdom from every situation and apply it toward growth. Change often comes with discomfort, but discomfort is a sign of transformation. A person who avoids change remains stagnant, while one who embraces it continually evolves. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Apply these lessons to life, and don't forget to share this video with the people you love. Wishing you a day filled with joy. Each challenge we face strengthens our ability to navigate future uncertainties. The more adaptable we become, the more resilient we grow. To cultivate adaptability, we must let go of the illusion of control. We cannot dictate every aspect of our lives, nor should we. Instead of rigid expectations, we can set intentions while remaining open to alternate paths. When obstacles arise, we must ask, what can I learn from this, and how can I adjust? By adopting this mindset, we turn setbacks into stepping stones. The most successful individuals are not those who avoid failure, but those who learn from it. They adjust, refine, and continue forward with new insight. Growth comes from our ability to accept change and respond with wisdom rather than fear. When we release our attachment to one specific outcome, we create space for better opportunities to emerge. As the Stoics taught, resilience is not about resisting life, but about flowing with it. Reflect on an area of your life where you feel resistance. Ask yourself, am I holding on to a rigid expectation? Practice letting go and adjusting your approach. See how your flexibility leads to new opportunities and greater ease in navigating life's uncertainties. Lesson 8. The strength in stillness. In a world that constantly urges us to move, act, and achieve, stillness is often overlooked. The Stoics understood that stillness is not passivity, but a source of immense power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." It is in moments of stillness that we gain clarity and wisdom. Rushing into decisions or forcing solutions often leads to unnecessary struggles. Learning to pause, reflect, and embrace stillness allows us to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. The mind, like water, becomes clear when left undisturbed. When we let go of constant agitation, we gain a sharper perspective. Just as muddy water settles when left alone, our thoughts align when we embrace quietude. This is why the greatest leaders, philosophers, and thinkers value solitude. True wisdom does not come from external noise, but from inner stillness. When we cultivate this, we develop the ability to navigate challenges with patience and strength. Stillness fosters self-awareness, allowing us to better understand our desires, fears, and motivations. In the absence of noise, we can hear the voice of reason more clearly. Seneca taught that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Our worries often stem from our restless minds, rather than from actual problems. By cultivating inner stillness, we gain control over our thoughts, preventing them from becoming unnecessary sources of suffering. The ability to sit with oneself without distraction is a powerful skill. Many fear stillness because they associate it with inactivity. But true stillness is not inaction. It is deliberate presence. A wise leader does not speak impulsively, but listens first, ensuring their words hold weight. When we learn to embrace stillness, we act with greater wisdom and precision. This ability to pause before acting prevents mistakes born from haste. Nature itself teaches us the power of stillness. The mountains stand firm as the winds rage around them. The moon does not rush its cycle. The ocean waves move in rhythm with the tides. Even the fiercest animals know when to wait, conserving energy for the right moment. Our greatest strength lies in knowing when to move and when to be still. Acting without awareness leads to exhaustion, while waiting for the right moment brings lasting success. Practicing stillness means resisting the urge to fill every moment with activity. We have been conditioned to equate busyness with productivity, yet some of the most profound progress happens in moments of rest. When we stop forcing things to happen, we often find that the answers we seek come naturally. The Stoics remind us that power lies not in how much we do, but in how wisely we act. Learning to sit in stillness, even for a few minutes each day, cultivates resilience, patience, and a deeper understanding of life. Stillness also strengthens our relationships. When we listen with full presence instead of rushing to respond, we build deeper connections. When we allow space for silence, meaningful conversations emerge. The best relationships are not forged through constant activity, but through moments of shared presence. Practicing stillness in our interactions teaches us to appreciate the quiet, unspoken understanding between people. True connection does not require words, it requires presence. Take a few moments each day to sit in stillness. Turn off distractions, close your eyes, and simply breathe. Observe your thoughts without engaging with them. Notice how stillness brings clarity and calm. With time, this practice will strengthen your ability to act with wisdom and patience, improving every aspect of your life.